very comfortable life, affordable life, live the good life.
The president.
And we know how that looks. Good paying job, good housing, good education for your children, and when it's all said and done, a good retirement. Thank you all.
I don't want to comment on the specifics of the deal as we're still, again, as I just said,
Donald Trump and House Republicans failed the American people.
Good to see you.
Costs having gone down in the United States of America, costs have gone up. ICE is completely and totally out of control, spending billions of taxpayer dollars to brutalize and kill American citizens, and to violently target law-abiding immigrants. Trump tariffs have cost the American people thousands of dollars a year in additional expense. Republicans have enacted the largest cut in American history, and as a result, nursing homes and community-based health centers all across the country, particularly in rural America, are on the brink of closure. Republicans have refused to extend the Affordable tax credits, putting in jeopardy the health insurance of more than 20 million Americans, and causing premiums to skyrocket in some instances, more than $1,000 in additional expense per month.
Self-proclaimed
Donald Trump and Republicans launched a reckless war of choice in the Middle East. That hasn't made America safer, but that has resulted in the tragic death of brave service members. Hundreds more have been seriously injured, including confronting the possibility of traumatic brain injury for the rest of their lives. More than $100 billion in taxpayer money has been wasted by Donald Trump over in the Middle East that he promised to get us into.
As you know, the president just put out a statement a few hours ago. I don't believe
that has changed as a result of that reckless and costly war of choice, operation failure. That gas prices dramatically increased and are now north of $4.18 per gallon. The country. Donald Trump and Republicans failed the American people, which is why they clearly are on the run,
but this is something
and are on the verge of losing control of the House of Representatives. In many instances, Republicans have already lost control of the House of Representatives. Democrats once again successfully passed a war powers resolution. As part of our continuing effort to bring Donald Trump's reckless war of choice in the Middle East to a close. House Democrats fighting in affordable America. And as we return home to our districts all across the country,
absolutely puts America first.
We will make clear to the American people that our promise to them is to lower the cost of groceries, gas, and housing.
Well, I know
our promise to the American people is that we will fight
trade representative
for affordable health care for every single American. Our promise to the American people is that we will hold crooks accountable.
At this event later on today.
If you're a crook in the United States of America, and you've been stealing from the American people,
is he going to pressure those executives?
We're coming after you.
Not just maintain the price.
So we can deliver a government of the people, by the people, and
drawn up by this president and his team to ensure that data centers in communities where those communities want data centers, that these big CEOs and energy companies are picking up the tab for the energy costs in these communities. So
we don't have to recalibrate on that. We've been opposed Donald Trump's recklessly and costly war of choice in the Middle East from the very beginning.
Regulators who set the power prices.
And what's clear now is that the overwhelming majority of the American people reject this war, understand it is totally unnecessary. That Donald Trump promised not to start wars, but to stop them, and turned around in the Middle East has done the exact opposite. So we're going to continue as we've done once again on the floor today to make clear that this Trump Republican war in Iran needs to come to an end.
These conversations are taking place, and again, they're of the utmost importance, not just for our national security, but to ensure America remains dominant in this space. Stephen.
Thank you, Caroline. Two questions. Has President Trump
total confidence in Del leadership of CCC, and as a result of that leadership, confident we're going to take back control of the House of Representatives in November.
Clear deal.
Hold on.
This provision.
Not to my knowledge, no. Again, as I told you, this was an idea the president has long had. It was the president and his team in the first term that began and signed the Abraham Accords with several countries in the region, between those countries and Israel. And the president obviously wants to expand on that historic accomplishment from his first term.
It's never been the only fact. It's always been a seniority experience should translate into whether you've been able to deliver effectively in leading the committee, and
tremendous success here
the
at home.
caucus is going to work its way as we move forward. At the end of the day, you can't put the cart before the horse. We got to still go out and win this thing
on earth, and the president is grateful to Gianni for all of the
and we're going to do everything to do just that. We have great candidates all across the country. DCCC once again we outraised the Republican National Campaign Committee.
The extradition process.
House majority.
You already answered that question. Elizabeth
has had a record-breaking
election officials that knowingly
6 months in the on-year, record-breaking off-year.
Considered in New Jersey,
and clearly, the environment repeatedly demonstrated
I would always defer to the
public opinion survey, most recently Fox News
decided to put out a press release
all point in the same direction.
Have been right about
but we're not taking anything for granted. We're going to keep gas on the gas pedal.
Saying this because she
run through the finish line. What has to be done, and then if we're in a position to organize,
the Secretary of
heading into the majority, the 120th Congress, then that's what we'll do.
That non-citizens that are on their voter rolls need to be reported to DHS and need to be removed from those voter rolls. So that's why all of a sudden she is speaking truth about the fact that this does take place in states across the country.
I haven't talked to him about this issue. He's been very vocal on the issue. I continue to maintain the position that
not just in New Jersey, but in
we've got to figure out how to move in a better direction in the Middle East. And for me, that means that a safe and secure Israel as a Jewish and democratic living side by side in prosperity with an independent Palestinian state provides dignity, self-determination, and respect for the Palestinian people.
So the president can sign it into law by the August recess. It's of the utmost importance to this president, but also to the American people who support this bill overwhelmingly. Mary in the back.
Thank you, Caroline. Two questions. One on Sophia Cunningham and then on self-driving cars.
Sure.
Sophia Cunningham and the WNBA has been attacked as a MAGA Barbie for saying it's common sense for men to not be in women's sports and locker rooms. Is the president following this story, and has he reached out to her?
I don't believe he has reached out to her. I know he is following the story. As you know, this is something the president feels strongly about as well, and the American people do too. That men should not be playing in women's sports. It's
Congress is ultimately going to have to in this area respect to artificial intelligence generally. We want to make sure that America should lead in the race in the race to innovate
Democrats and
in this space, in this same period of time, ensuring that we are vigilantly protecting the quality of life of the American people. You know, under the leadership of Ted Lieu, Josh Gottheim, Valerie Fouché, we have been engaging with stakeholders all across the country to be prepared to actually legislate in a serious way moving forward on all of these issues.
Well, you know, the president,
because Donald Trump, Republican have dropped.
So he's a supporter of them. I know he's purchased some self-driving cars for his family members, his grandchildren. So I think he supports them and Americans who want to drive them. But with that said, I don't know about the specific legislation. I will check in with our legislature.
It doesn't seem to be working. If you actually look at the reaction of the American people in terms of who is on the verge of taking back control of the House. These people are desperate. They're flailing all over the place because Republicans to deliver a single thing that makes life better for the American people. In fact, what they've consistently delivered is breaking promises.
And thought she
That's what the Republicans track record. That's why they're in deep trouble in so many ways. Republicans promised to lower cost of living haven't gone up. They've gone up. Republicans promised that immigration enforcement is going to target the worst of the worst. Instead, is spending billions of taxpayer money to brutalize or kill American citizens and to violently target law-abiding immigrants. Republicans love and cherish Medicaid and turned around the largest cut in American history. Ripping health care away from more than 14 million Americans. Republicans promised not to start endless wars in the Middle East, stop them, and then turned around and got us in this reckless war in Iran, gas prices skyrocketing out of control, in an economy suffocating and drowning the American people.
And so twice today at 2:30.
I haven't really followed
we will see you
all of the
thanks, guys.
hyperbole that's come out of Mike Johnson and others.
Los Angeles Dodgers back
I don't think the American people are taking it seriously. And it's certainly the case that the extraordinary candidates that are running all districts all across America, including Kate Conley
the president looks forward to finishing what he started before a assassination attempt derailed
Diana Mendoza, in Arizona. Three extraordinary, brave combat
veterans. A very entertaining and memorable
can't be painted
Looking ahead to next week,
as anti-American. And the Republicans know it, but everything else that until this point has failed. And this effort to label us communists is going to fail as well.
And next Friday, the president will host the 13th cabinet meeting of this term at Camp David, which will be a lot of fun and something different for the cabinet to experience together. Turning now to the economy. A little more than a year after President Trump signed the Working Families Tax Cuts into law, this historic legislation continues to deliver on its promise, unleashing a genuine boom for American workers.
All remains the same in terms of driving and spending agreement in September.
This was the biggest tax refund season in American history.
We're not down with the highway roads. They're nowhere.
An 11%
I don't know why they continue to go back to that playbook.
American families
Even John Thune has said, with respect to the Republican continuing resolution related to the upcoming fiscal year, it's dead on arrival.
In the Senate. Claimed no tax.
Chuck Schumer didn't say that.
Nearly 8 million
Exclusively. John Thune did. So Mike Johnson, House Republicans, not even on the same page with members of their own party. The My Way or Highway Republican will continue to crash and it will fail.
The Trump
And so our view is,
American
the appropriators should sit down by Roosevelt on our side and enter into a bipartisan conversation about reaching an agreement that is actually designed to meet the needs of the American people. And if that can't be done in advance of September 30th, then we should enter into a bipartisan resolution that gives the appropriators the space to actually enact a spending bill prior to the end of the calendar year that lifts up the health, the safety, and the economic well-being of the American people.
Is on pace for the best year in its history. Ketchy Inc. in North Carolina was able to purchase new machinery and expand its workforce by 25%.
Well, I'm thankful for all the work that's been done by the Democratic Policy Committee on Sunday. We will be launching an effort connected to our commitment
to grow,
to fight for an affordable America,
rather than
and have 100 days of action beginning this Sunday, July 26th, making clear to the American people that we're lowering the cost of groceries and gas and housing. We're committed
Trump promised, and it's exactly
to a country that provides affordable health care for every American.
But when they had the chance,
and we also are committed to hold the crooks accountable.
They refused.
Who've been robbing the American people blind.
The largest tax increase in history.
And that includes a lot of folks in this town.
Americans would have seen their taxes go up.
And folks across the country.
It would have been a complete disaster for our economy. That's the Democrat solution to, quote, affordability. It is raising your taxes. So I hope the press will cover more of the massive success stories resulting from the working families tax cuts and point out that every single Democrat on Capitol Hill voted against every single common sense provision that put more money back into the pockets of the American people.
Yeah, it seems that discussing the date have been robust and comprehensive, and we'll see what they come up with over the next couple of days in terms of the Rules Committee and the Rules Committee, and then ultimately I think the entire body of the DNC at some point in August. I have an expression other than making clear I support
hardworking families.
Jim Clyburn's view that South Carolina should clearly be
already signed on to this pledge.
Play a preeminent role as it has done now
Nearly 200 additional states have signed on to this
presidential cycles,
including utilities,
in terms of the early nominating particularly in an environment where we've seen the Supreme Court unleash Jim Crow-like tactics in the deep South, trying to undermine the ability of African Americans to elect candidates of their choice.
Cementing America's dominance over China in the global AI race. The president is ensuring the American people are never left footing the bill.
I have not been briefed on so-called nuclear deal, and it's hard to announce how many ceasefires has he announced during the course of reckless and choice in Iran. Is there anything that he says relates to that we can take seriously? And so any responsible president actually would have provided a briefing through his cabinet secretaries in advance of any sort of proclamation. But this is how Donald Trump behaves. He's always chasing attention. I mean, he disgraced himself after the World Cup final.
We want to work together.
Looked like the old man in the club. No one wanted around.
With Senate leadership on
he's the only one that couldn't figure it out. So we can't. There's nothing that he's saying right now that any of us can take seriously, and that's unfortunate because he's gotten us involved in the war. The war has now cost the lives of 18
they have chosen to block this
service members
administration,
in Iran.
to block Republicans in Congress from keeping our government open, which does not help anyone, and it especially hurts the American people who depend on our government remaining open so they can access
getting involved in
critical
the
services that our
August
government
primaries, of which
country.
there will be
So
primaries on August 4th. There'll be primaries on August 11th, and then the Florida primary in August 18. And as I've said repeatedly, Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz has been a highly effective member of the United States Congress, and a valuable member of both the leadership team and the House Democratic Caucus. And I have more to say about that race. Some of the other races where we haven't weighed in
will be approved, but is totally subject to Saudi Arabia joining the very respected and successful Abraham Accords. The United States is not opposed to civil nuclear facilities, as we all know. Look, this is a condition that the president has spoken about many times with our Gulf and Arab allies. He wants to see these countries sign the Abraham Accord. It was one of the most historic accomplishments of his first term, and it continues to be a long-term goal of his to expand those accords to ultimately come to a place where the Middle East can be a peaceful and stable region. And yes, this deal with Saudi Arabia, the energy deal, is contingent on this condition as far as the president is concerned. So we'll continue to talk about
commitment to the American people is pretty simple.
See them done in accords very soon. Thank you.
Accountable. Exactly what the American want to be done. Because the corruption that has occurred over the last 18 months is out of control.
Dealmaker, as you know, and this is
the most corrupt administration in American history. It's not even close.
And he has said
who may fall second
Accords,
in that
the deal is up. So we'll continue to have those conversations with
there have been a lot of folks across this country who made the decision early on to bend the knee to Donald Trump. And if they've gotten themselves involved in corrupt dealings
with the Saudis about this and numerous
undermining the best interests of the American people,
in those conversations,
then they should be accountable. And we have a responsibility as a separate branch of government to serve as a check and balance,
especially about this very important condition that
an out of control president.
Good to see you.
You too.
And to make sure that anyone who may be working that out of control administration in this Trump cartel, undermining the interests of the American people. It's clear to us that if you've got people in government who are focused more on enriching themselves, their family, and their big donors, then they're not going to start making life better for the Americans. And that's part of the problem that we have right now.
Imagine this would be
something. We've got a president and others show no interest in improving the quality of life of the American people. And that's not speculative. Donald Trump has said it repeatedly in his own words. That the affordability crisis is a hoax. Donald Trump has said he does not think about
Democrat politics.
He doesn't give a damn, in my view. Does not think about the personal financial situation of the American people. His words, not mine. Donald Trump has said he loves the inflation.
Who are winning elections.
Donald Trump has said we're so busy fighting wars. We don't have money
the vast majority
for daycare, Medicare, Medicaid. Donald Trump said that.
World as an example.
And so clearly he's got other things on his mind. So does the administration, House Republicans. This is why things have gotten in this country. This economy is a disaster. Everyday Americans are drowning
all the dangers that it
in the Trump economy. And that's why we're committed as House Democrats fighting for America to make sure in this country when you play by the rules, you can live a comfortable life, affordable life, and live the good life. And we know how that looks. Good paying job, good health housing, good education for your children, and it's all
in these
said and done,
conversations,
a good
and has also
retirement. A
said
good
many
retirement.
times
Thank
in
you,
the
Erm.
past.
Thank you,
In
Erm.
the back, go.
The verdict is clear. Donald Trump and House Republicans failed the American people. Costs having gone down in the United States of America, costs have gone up. ICE is completely and totally out of control, spending billions of taxpayer dollars to brutalize and kill American citizens, and to violently target law-abiding immigrants. Trump tariffs have cost the American people thousands of dollars per year in additional expense. Republicans have enacted the largest cut in American history, and as a result, nursing homes, health centers all across the country, particularly in rural America, are on the brink of closure. Republicans have refused to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, putting in jeopardy the health insurance of more than 20 million Americans, and causing premiums to skyrocket in some instances, more than $1,000 in additional expense per month.
Trade representative.
Donald Trump and Republicans launched a reckless war of choice in the Middle East. That hasn't made America safer.
Some big utility companies.
But that has resulted in the tragic death of 18 brave service members. Hundreds more have been seriously injured, including confronting the possibility of traumatic brain injury for the rest of their lives. More than $100 billion taxpayer money has been wasted by Donald Trump
in these communities
over in the Middle East that he promised to get us into.
Acknowledge all elements involved in building and operating data centers.
Remain that has changed as a result of that reckless and costly war of choice, operation failure. That gas prices dramatically increased and are now north of $4.18 per gallon of coke. Donald Trump and Republicans failed the American people, which is why they clearly are on the run and are on the verge of losing control of the House of Representatives. In many instances, Republicans have already lost control of the House of Representatives. Democrats demonstrated once again successfully passing war powers resolution.
Thank you, Caroline.
As part of our continuing effort to bring Donald Trump's reckless of choice in the Middle East to a close. House Democrats fighting in affordable America. And as we return home to our district all across the country,
this was an idea.
We will make clear to the American people that our promise to them is to lower the cost of groceries, gas,
between those countries
and housing.
And the president.
Our promise to the American people is that we will fight
to your
for affordable